It is the Thunderdome of NFL divisions. Who wins the AFC North? It's going to take a while to sort through that one. We'll do it next on DJ Football. It is DJ Football. He is Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network. I'm Ryan Brown. Thank you for joining us. The show presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere at MyBookie.ag. Code next round. Get you that 110% sign-on bonus when you sign up and make your initial deposit at MyBookie.ag. DJ, what is up, man? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's exciting when we get to this time of the year. It's just the games start mattering a little bit. We're kind of figuring out who the teams are, who's going to kind of separate from the pack. It feels like it's a pretty critical time on the NFL calendar.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that it is. And when you look at what you're calling the best division in football, that whole calendar is going to be critical. So the AFC North, I remember we did a show as the season started, and I might have asked you what the best division was. I don't remember your answer, but I'm not certain it was the AFC North. And through 8 weeks, you say it absolutely is the AFC North.
Yeah, look, I don't think there's any question. I think I might have said the East maybe before the season started. Yep. And look, the Patriots the only team with a losing record in the East. But when you look at the AFC North, the Ravens are 5-2, the Steelers are 4-2, the Browns are 4-2, the Bengals, a team that's been in the Super Bowl not all that long ago, is 3-3. I think it's without question has been the best division in football, and I think it's fascinating to see, where they are now, but then what the expectations are in terms of how far they're going to go, who's going to win the division, and then who's going to be positioned to make a run in a very, very crowded AFC field.
Let's start with Cleveland. They've been forced to play a backup quarterback basically 2 straight weeks now, and all they've done in that time is beat San Francisco at home, maybe the best team in the NFL, and go on the road and come from behind to beat Indianapolis, again, with Deshaun Watson with a concussion protocol, having to watch from the sidelines. They've done it both weeks. That's 2 pretty remarkable wins when you've had to play a backup.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how that went down. The first one, you're sitting there going, man, the defense has been dominant, and they kind of strangled the 49ers a little bit and got a win with a backup quarterback. And this one, I was at a game, obviously doing the Charger game and the Chiefs, and so we're waiting for that game to start. I did a double take on the scoreboard. I was like, holy crud, how the heck are the Colts scoring this many points on the Cleveland Browns?
I know.
And the Colts have a good defense as well. And so for them to be able to come back in that game, with a backup quarterback, to me, showed a little more resolve and just a little different Cleveland Browns team than maybe we've seen. We know the defense is great there with Jim Schwartz and Myles Garrett and company. The offense, you lose Nick Chubb early, Deshaun Watson's out, and for them to be able to get the points necessary to win kind of a shootout game was huge. So that was an impressive win for the Cleveland Browns coming on the heels of what they did against San Francisco.
Yeah, even if their defense maybe didn't play up to par the whole game, it did eventually come down.
They
to
got
their
turnovers.
Defense,
yeah, they got turnovers.
They got turnovers, and it came down to them on the goal line stand at the end there to hold Indianapolis out of the end zone.
Yeah.
So ultimately Jim Schwartz put his fingerprints on that game by the end of it.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere, and that's the way I kind of feel about all these teams. If you're going to go through these teams, and we can go through them one after the other, we just talked about Cleveland. To me, Cincinnati has, they still, with Joe Burrow, and we'll see coming off the bye, I believe they play San Francisco, which will be.
That is correct. Yep.
And then I think they play Buffalo after that.
That's right, at home.
So we're going to
at San Francisco and host Buffalo.
We're going to know a lot about this Cincinnati Bengals team, whether they've figured some things out after the next 2 weeks. But I would say with them, they have the widest variance. In other words, like this team could be, 12-win team. This team could be, 500, 7-8 team. Like that, with what we've seen from them, it's hard to know what you're going to get. But I still feel like the ceiling, because of the quarterback, because of what they have on the defensive front led by Trey Hendrickson, I still think they have a really, really high ceiling once they get all their weapons connected offensively and they can rush the passer. But they haven't looked right, and we've attributed that a lot to Burrow's calf, but this offensive line hadn't really come together either.
Yeah, I mean, I would say with Burrow's calf, that bye week came at a really good time for them. I don't know when people think the perfect time to have a bye week is, but that one felt like excellent timing for them.
No question. And if they get Joe back to his just regular standard Joe Burrow self, they can go on a run, and there's no team they can't beat. And that starts with San Francisco and Buffalo, 2 really talented teams. They can win when Joe Burrow's dialed in and right and synced up with his weapons. So they're the team to me that I feel like they could be first or fourth in this division when it's all said and done. They have that capability. And then like Pittsburgh to me feels like they're going to be second or third. Like they're going to tough their way. They're going to will their way to the playoffs, and they'll be the second or third team here. I don't think they have enough juice offensively with Kenny Pickett to win this division. But it feels to me like they're in that 2-3 spot where the Ravens feel like they're 1 or 2. You know, they're the most balanced. They got the best record right now, but they're the most complete team here with the way their defense is played. They beat the stuffing out of the Detroit Lions, who have been playing great. And their defense dominated them even more so than that. Ryan Lamar looked like MVP Lamar Jackson.
What was that? That game was 20-0 at one point.
They're smoking them. It was 28-0 at half, I believe, or, early in the game. And it was Lamar doing whatever he wanted. I think he threw for like 350, ran the ball well. He was unstoppable, and that's a good Detroit defense that they shredded. And you're starting to see Zay Flowers is getting better each and every week. Obviously, the connection with Andrews has always been there. We don't talk about special teams, but I mean they've got maybe the best kicker of all time. That you're going to find yourself in close games. This division is so even as we're discussing it. That's a nice ace in the hole.
Yeah, he's not bad. We'll talk more about the AFC North. He is Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network. This is DJ Football. A reminder, the show presented by MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. You make your initial deposit, use code next round. That gets you a 110% bonus. That is absolutely free money when you use code next round at MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag, code next round. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag, code next round. Also, don't forget Manscaped, manscaped.com. They've got all the great products from the Handyman, which is the smaller, more portable razor, to the beard hedger that I use all the time to keep that beard trimmed down. It's got the adjustable guard so your guard doesn't pop off. To the weed whacker, takes care of the nose hair and the ear hair. And then the lawnmower, which is for the whole body, including the undercarriage right there. Don't forget the boxer shorts, the great body products. You can find all of that at manscaped.com. And as a thank you for following us on DJ Football, DJF20 gets you 20% off your initial order, DJF20 at manscaped.com. All right, you say we never talk special teams. We don't a lot, but we do talk quarterbacks a lot.
Yeah.
If you rank the quarterbacks in order, the ones you trust for the back half of this season, how would you rank them top to bottom in this division?
Yeah, I would rank them how I just was thinking about that. I was anticipating you were going to ask me that question.
Wow, that's a great quarterback. You anticipate.
Yeah, well, to me, I would go just because health and the way he's dialed in right now. I would say Lamar. I would go Lamar over Burrow, but again, you can flip those. I wouldn't have any problem with that. But I would go Lamar.
Your criticism historically about Lamar, not yours, but anyone's, has been his postseason performance. It's very rarely been his regular season performance. So, in terms of getting to the postseason, Lamar Jackson's as good as anybody you got.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm telling you, man, this Zay Flowers kid is legit, and I feel like he's a little something that he hasn't had there. I mean, I liked Hollywood Brown; he was a good player for him. This is a better version of that. So that with the offensive line being in pretty good shape, even though they've had the injuries in the backfield, they can still run the ball. This feels like a comfortable Lamar Jackson the way he's playing right now. So I would go Lamar. I would go Burrow. I would actually third. I'm going to go Pickett just because with Watson, he hasn't been out there. And when he has been out there, he hasn't been good. So at least with Pickett in the clutch moments in games, he's actually played well. When they've needed a drive, they've needed a throw, he's made it. Getting to that point's not aesthetically pleasing to say the least. But I don't know how I could, put Cleveland in the third spot there because Watson can't get out there. When he has been out there, he hasn't been very good.
It's kind of funny. I don't know that I would necessarily put Baltimore in this category, but every team in this division, there's been a moment in the year you're like, yeah, they're not. I mean, for Cincinnati, it was right out of the gate. I mean, right out of the gate, Cincinnati they were not themselves. And you're like, I don't know if they can make the playoffs.
How about Pittsburgh got their brains beat in by San Francisco in the opener?
And the Texans, they lost 30-6 to the Texans. And you're like, it's not a playoff team there. And then, Cleveland, you watch Nick Chubb get hurt and you're like, yep, that's going to do it for Cleveland. I don't think they could do this without Nick Chubb. Every one of those teams at one point has overcome one of those moments where you're like, yeah, that's probably going to do it for their playoff hopes.
Yeah, I think that speaks to me, and it's an overused word, but there's a lot of gritty teams here. All these teams are resilient. They're tough. I think a lot of that comes from the head coaches. When you look at the four of them, I think they've been able to hold things together. They've been able to get through some rough stretches. But I don't know. I look at this, and you tell me, but when I look at this, I don't see one of these teams, collapsing unless something happens to Joe Burrow and he can't play. Cincinnati's going to hang in there. Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin and T.J. Watt and that defense and the offense, they're not going anywhere. They're hanging in there. I guess Cleveland would be the one I would be the most worried about, even though I love the defense. I love Myles Garrett, and I think they're finding ways to win these games. I would probably have the least amount of confidence in them. Like, that would be the one. If somebody's going to fall off a little bit, I would probably say Cleveland.
It is Thunderdome in the NFL. The AFC North DJ football is presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. Get that sign-on bonus of 110% free money at MyBookie.ag when you use code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. And also Manscaped.com, code DJF20. Saves you 20% off as a thank you for watching the show. 20% off your initial order at Manscaped.com. He has Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network, and this is DJ Football.